The views and opinions expressed on This Can't Be Adulting are solely those of the host and do not represent or reflect the views of any individual, organization, employer, or entity we may be affiliated with. The content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised. Yo, welcome to This Can't Be Adulting, the podcast where two guys who probably should have it all figured out absolutely don't.
Careers, money, relationships. No one handed us a manual, so we're figuring it out the only way we know how, with real talk, deep dives, and a whole lot of laughs.
I'm Herb.
And I'm Derek. And if you're out here wondering, am I doing this right? Trust us, you're not alone.
So hit play, relax, and let's figure this out together.
All right, yo. How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the This Can't Be Adultin podcast. How we doing? Herb always with the little shimmy and with a little dance at the beginning of every episode. I'm digging it.
Hey. Dallas over here. I've been in Dallas here lately. That's I'm gonna give a shout out to a dude. He probably don't. Obviously, they're not listening. But anyways, in Dallas, they started doing this like Murder Bend. Go look it up. Look at the song called Murder Bend.
Murder Bend.
Yeah, look at it.
B-I-N or
B-E-N-D.
Bend. Murder Bend.
Yeah.
It's that Arkansas twang. I couldn't
I
understand
can't
what you
even say
said.
Arkansas. It's Dallas. It's Dallas.
No, I was talking about your accent.
Oh,
That's why I couldn't get what you were saying there from that perspective.
Yeah, with that slang on it. But yeah.
This is a new song. Hey, you keeping up with the youngins, bro?
Bro.
With your old
40
ass?
is a new 30, right?
Hey, Herb and I tried on Tuesday night. Tuesday night, man.
Hey, we said F, baby.
We did all right, though. We We hung in there.
Derek was gracious enough to invite me out to the Lil Wayne concert here.
We did.
We had a good time.
We had a really good time.
A good time.
Part of the reason we had a good time was that we just bumped into a bunch of people from our past.
Oh, it's crazy. It took me back to those times when we used to go out and it was like, you would always run into people like this.
Always.
And have all the nights turn out to be like that.
Yeah.
And this was very mild night.
Right. It turned out, when he says turn out to be like that, means it just ended up being a really good time.
Yes.
We didn't really wild out. We had a couple of drinks. I mean,
there we go.
Went to bed way past my bedtime. Luckily, we're adults, right? We're about to be 40, and we said, you know what? We're not going to go out because we were tempted by the devil.
I'm the devil. We were tempted by the devil to go out, but like you said, we didn't do that, and I felt much better on
Wednesday. Yesterday.
Yeah, so I feel like an adult.
Yeah, I felt like an adult. Me too. I was sitting there like, well, we're standing there because we go to this venue, Circuit of the Americas, which is, they've got this amphitheater with a large green area in the back. By green, I mean like the lawn. That's what they call it. Yep. Super dope for concerts, especially in Austin at night when the weather's perfect, the lights are out, you're not crowded, you have room to move, to dance, to sing, whatever. So it was really, really cool. So we were standing there, and I was like, man, this was like 4 years ago. I'd have been a lesbian out because Herb and I have been in that position, maybe not 4 years ago, 10 years ago. We used to go to this thing called Blues in the Green on Wednesday nights.
Back in the heyday.
Back in the day, we used to be like, yo, we're just going to go Blues in the Greens. You can drink beers, and that's it.
Straight out to work.
Never happened. End up at dirty 6
a.m.
You just, what the fuck?
And I was like, that Thursday, I had some Thursdays that were just
awful. But we showed up. We showed up. We had to be in the office. Yeah.
You had to be in the office like, woo.
Yeah. So I was very proud that we didn't do that. And we were walking out. I was like, yeah, I got 3 really big meetings tomorrow that I actually have to be there and pay attention to because they're kind of good opportunities for you for. So, thank God. But we're here now. And we're good.
Hey.
We got an interesting topic here today. I'm obviously going to say it's interesting. They're all fucking interesting, all right? On This Can't Be Adultin.
Yeah, I mean, it better be. Yeah,
it better be.
Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, you love it. We need it.
So really big topic to discuss because there's been a lot of conversations over the past several years, and let's talk about it, probably last decades, especially politically, about the destruction of the nuclear family and what does that all mean. So Herb and I were brainstorming about topics to talk about, and we figured, why not talk about family, right? Family, what it meant to us and what we thought about it and learned about what family was when we were younger, and then what family is now, and how do you navigate family as an adult?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you do that shit?
We'll talk about it like the roles. That's the kind of comes to mind with me is just the family dynamics and the roles that have evolved as I've gotten older.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing too, if you see Herb and I grabbing our phones a lot, we're trying something a little different where we have our topics and prompts to talk about on the podcast on our phones. We used to have it on this big whiteboard that we used to put under the camera, but we just didn't really have time to write it all on there today. And I think it's just easy just to be able to look at our phones the entire time. That didn't sound right. To be able to just pick up your phone, look, and reference their phones, right? So that's what we're going to be doing right now. We're going to try it out from that perspective, though. But
again, this is a work in progress. You're going to get to see the evolution of this podcast and how it kind of we'll be able to look back on it, episodes 1, episode 18, episode 26, episode 100, and be like, dang, you can see the natural progression and the evolution, hopefully an improvement over that time.
We got to do something big for episode 100 because we're going to be around for episode 100, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Let's do that. Let's bring me back in.
Let's bring it here to 18th episode.
Let's do it.
Family. Herb, you're a big family man. Big family man. Big. So I want you to start this, man. Okay. I want to talk about growing up, family.
Yep.
When did you start understanding what family was? What were you taught? Because you've already told us multiple stories about family in Arkansas and everyone's super close. But I want to hear yours because we're definitely going to have a little bit of a different dynamic.
Yep. So I will say, as you know, I come from a large family. When I say a large family, the family I come from, I'm specifically speaking about my mom's side of the family, that she grew up in Arkansas. All her brothers and sisters predominantly stayed there.
Right, because your dad's from California.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So that's the side of the family that I know most. Now, my mom's mother had a large family as well, brothers and sisters, and they all was in the same area, same neighborhood as well. So it was like that extended family. So when I say I know my family, bro, I knew like 4, 5, 6 cousins, but they were just like family to me. But like growing up, that's all I knew. I was so insulated by that. And then even when I would venture out to like neighboring communities or neighboring cities, even other black families that we would run into, they kind of had a lot of them had a very similar upbringing where these large, southern families that were kind of built around predominantly like the matriarch, whether the grandmother or the grandfather of the family. So that's kind of what I was embedded in me as far as growing up. So I didn't really understand how unique my family was or how I had it until I honestly left and went to college.
So you're I mean that's a good point. Like you grew up where you grew up and this was normal to you.
Yes.
This is just what it is.
Yeah.
And it's obviously very different. And there's also, I feel like there's also something to say about, you even just said it, but like the fact that you're in the South too.
Yes.
And in the South, to me, it just feels like my experiences with Southern culture in general is that it's so close-knit, close together, particularly around family.
Yes.
So that's also a big part of it.
Yeah, of course.
You brought up something that I do want to talk about that I wasn't even thinking we were going to go on there. You brought up matriarch.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So
like the matriarch is just what the hierarchy is within the families.
Correct.
And stuff. Okay, that's so interesting.
Correct. Yeah, and I guess it's so funny because to me it's like this. We would always refer to my grandmother as, because unfortunately my grandmother and grandfather, my mom's parents, split up. Now he was still in the area. He still was in the area, but he had another family a little ways down the highway. So I grew up with my grandmother being like the matriarch of our family. And I'll reference it later, but like very similar to soul food. Like every Sunday we would go up there, and looking back on it now, it's so crazy, but we would just go up there and hang out on Sundays, and people would cook all day long. And I was just thinking, like, she would have her kids up there, grandkids, great grandkids, and we're just out playing in the yard, just hanging out. And I was like, man, that's so much great. And that's all she wanted, was just everybody come up there, and that's
community.
Yep.
It's a huge sense of community. Yep. I love that. Mm-hmm. I fucking love that. And the matriarch is an important piece of it, because I do feel maybe other types of families, it's the patriarch, and it's around that. And we get told so much, especially in Western society, that this is a patriarchal society. Mm-hmm. And I think the consensus is overall, from a macro perspective, yes, it is. But then you forget about the individual microcosms, the families, the communities, and the societies. And at least in the South, and in your family, it's a matriarch.
Yep. You'll see a lot of that, and even extended families, like. It was, if the dad was there or the grandfather was there, he would have a role, but he still would just be. I just remember all my
in the background,
grandpas and uncles, they was just always in their room somewhere away. You just never really saw them.
Really,
very rare occasions. But my all the aunts and aunties or all the women would be out socializing, when we're over there playing. So it was just so funny just to see the difference between how the men were and how the women were. And it definitely played a impact on me growing up when it came to gender roles, which in my family growing up was huge.
We talked about
before,
that,
like
right?
Sundays we'd go up there. The men didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And the women would make the play. So it was just very interesting to see the dynamic. Like I say, it didn't change for me until I left and kind of started seeing other people's families.
Very interesting. You mentioned it was your mom's sisters, brothers, and then
My grandmother's sisters and brothers.
our sisters, brothers. So how many aunts and uncles were we talking about?
Okay, so
How many great aunts and great uncles were we talking about?
boy, we had
If you know that number.
Well, I used to know it specifically because what we used to do growing up was that my grandmother's parents, they were the patriarch of the family, and we would have these family reunions. And we had the T-shirts made. If you ever seen these family reunion T-shirts, we had those, and it had the family tree of everyone.
Oh, wow.
And my grandmother had 10 or 11 brothers and sisters who were all in the area, who all had their large 10 or 11 type families. So it was like each one of these families was in our community, but like my grandmother, we would hang out up there. That's be our family. But then like down the road, her sister or her brothers, their family aside, they would hang out at their grandmother's, and then we would all like, play out in the neighborhood whenever we play around. But like, so it was like these different factions within the family.
Yeah.
We knew all of those. So I'm estimating my mom had 9 brothers and sisters. Probably 7 of them would be still in the area.
Wow.
They all probably had, we're looking at like, at my grandmother's place, anything from like 35, 45 people on a Sunday.
On a Sunday.
So
you guys got together every Sunday, or was it like a daily thing? Where like how often were you at your grandmother's?
Every day, like people get off work and you might go up to my grandmother's house. Like if you didn't have anything to do, like people would always, after they got off work, they would go by up there. So even during the week, like it would still be stuff going on kind of up there. But specifically on Sundays, it was always kind of hang out up there.
How many cousins do you have? First cousins.
First cousins. Ooh.
Do you know? Rough estimate.
That's about 20.
20?
That I grew up with.
Yeah.
Like right now today, I can call and like probably about 20.
Damn.
And we would go on family trips. Until fairly recently here, we get charter a bus. About 60 of us will go and take over a neighborhood or take over some city.
That's fucking dope. That's fucking dope.
Yeah. So it was very, like I say, very impactful. Large family, Southern family. Like I say, I would keep referencing. You see the movie Soul Food.
Yeah.
Very much similar with it growing up.
So growing up, you would say your idea of family was all positive.
Yes, absolutely. I will say that.
With the exception of family drama, which I think is a whole other topic that we could definitely talk about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, man, I look at other people's family and their dynamics that they have. As I got older, I was like, wait, what? Like, and my aunts, uncles, they can call me and I'm going to go do anything. Just like if my parents call me, like they could have the same. And my first cousin, if any of them call me or any of my cousins call me, like they're like brothers and sisters. Like, it's so weird to me when people like, oh, I got a cousin and they don't really have that relationship with them.
Yeah.
When you say cousin to me, I'm thinking like, oh, like a brother or sister.
Yeah.
And like if you say aunts or uncles, I'm thinking like another, like basically like your parents.
Yeah.
Other people, that's not the same. It ain't the same.
It isn't, and particularly in a lot of white America, from what I've been told. I've dated and talked to a lot of Americans, and they're like, huh, like what? And hearing your story now too, actually, it's really not that far different from mine, to be honest with you, family. I thought it was going to be completely different, but like you're saying a lot of shit, and I'm like, kicking over. I'm going to take the mic now and talk about my shit. But like, the only slight difference about me and my family was that my family immigrated from Colombia, and then we kind of separated. And by that, my family, I mean like my grandfather was moved to the United States as a migrant worker.
On your mom or dad's side?
I'm sorry. Yeah, good call. On my mom's side.
Okay.
I grew up with most of my mom's side of the family.
Okay.
So on my mom's side of the family, my grandfather moved here as a migrant worker. He worked for a factory, an American factory in Colombia. They moved him out here to Connecticut. Yeah. He worked out here, and they said, if you come out here, pay you American dollars, be here for 2 years, you can bring your family, they all become citizens. And so at the time, my mom moved here when she was 11. My grandfather brought my grandmother.
60s, 70s?
It was in the right 1970.
Okay.
Pretty much. Like literally my mom was born in 59. She was 11 when she got here. So it was 1970.
Yeah.
She moved out here, and my mom is also one of 10.
Yeah.
So there's a big family. 7 aunts, 6 aunts, 3 brothers.
Yeah.
Because my mom's obviously one of the 10. Big family, but for a while everyone lived in the Northeast. That's how my mom got to Rhode Island, and then we kind of split in the 80s and 90s, and half of my family moved to Florida, and the other half stayed in Rhode Island.
Okay.
So I had a bunch of aunts, uncles, and cousins in Florida and Rhode Island, but with respects to my family in Rhode Island, I was always super close to my aunts. Yep. Like had how many aunts? I had my aunt Doris was in Rhode Island. My uncle Oscar was in Rhode Island. My aunt Alba was in Rhode Island. Even my aunt Marlene was in Rhode Island for a little bit. So it was probably like split half and half. Then
in
I was
a small area.
In a small area. I mean, it's Rhode Island. Rhode Island's tiny. We're tiny. Yeah. So we used to do like holiday events. It was a party. It was Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It was always usually at our house. Everyone would come over to be a party. I would see my cousins all the time, particularly my aunt Doris, and you've met my cousins, Andy and Sasha. They're my brothers and sisters. That's who I grew up with. I was really close with my cousins growing up. Even at one point, I had another cousin live down the street from me, Nathan, and we were like this. We were super tight. So it was super tight knit from that. So for me, family was definitely super big. Now for my dad's side, my dad's one of 6, but at the time growing up, it was just my dad and one of my uncles in the States. Everyone else was back in Colombia, including my grandmother, including my grandfather. My grandfather unfortunately passed away in the 90s on my dad's side. And so I wasn't really close to any one of. I was close to my uncle because he lived right around here. But it was really my mom's side of the family that I ended up being really close. But with that said, I used to spend summers in Florida. So
what part?
Tampa, where my family was, where my aunts.
City out there.
Yeah, Tampa, and some of my cousins listening right now. And it's funny that you say this because my grandmother on my mom's side is definitely the matriarch of the family. Everything is done, and a lot of the reason for that is because my grandmother essentially raised a lot of my cousins. She raised them because my aunts, my uncles, they had to work, and they would drive. Instead of bringing them dick, they would drop them off at her house in the morning, pick them up in the night. She would feed them, bathe them. They'd be running around the streets wild. And obviously, I wasn't a part of that because I was in Rhode Island and she was in Florida. But I got sent to Florida one summer, and I was there all 3 months, and I was just part of that. Oh, it was a blast. I was like 6, and then I was 8, and then getting cool my con. After that, I would go to Florida pretty much every summer with my family for a week or two, not get sent out there, but you would easily blend in and just assimilate to their everyday life.
Yeah, you're like, oh, shit.
And everyone was like, we're going abuelitas, we're dropping off abuelitas. So my grandmother, for real one, she an OG. And as you know, last summer, all of us did a family reunion in Colombia. And we were there for 2 weeks, and it was my grandmother's 90th birthday. So we I think at the ranch, we rented this big ass ranch in the mountains. I think there were 60 of us total that stayed there. That was cousins, aunts, uncles, cousins of cousins, sisters of mine. It was dope. And I have a really good relationship with most of my cousins, sir. Even the ones that grew up in Florida, we all super cool. And it's very normal for me to have relationships with my cousins, like you were saying, because a lot of Americans just don't.
Which is crazy to me when I didn't understand that until I got out and I started dating other people and seeing their family dynamics, and I was like, you ain't got no cousins?
Yeah.
They like, what?
And then I got cousins, but I don't really talk to them. You're like, huh?
You're like, I got 2, 3 cousins.
Yeah.
8 or 9, and you're like 18, 19. You're like, but that's it. I ain't got no.
Yeah.
Or they would see me interacting with them, like, who is that? Like, oh, that's my cousin.
Yeah.
This person, that's my cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my cousin. That's my, everybody was my cousin. They like, how big is it? I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't even.
Yeah, your shit is super interesting. I have 29 cousins on my mom's side.
Okay,
29 first cousins.
Yes. Okay.
And now my first cousins, they all have kids. So now that's super been extended.
Bro.
You know that. It's just been freaking insane. I do want to bring something up. It's super funny right now because bringing it to present day, in Rhode Island, one of my cousins started a run club in Rhode Island.
Okay.
Probably 2-3 years ago. And he started a run club, and he brought in some of my other cousins. And so, we got a couple other cousins that now live in Rhode Island that are second cousins.
Yeah.
So their grandmother is my grandmother's sister.
Yeah.
So there are second cousins, but it's so funny because I was back in Rhode Island in June, and I went to go meet them for the run club, and they're introducing me, and they're like, "Oh, this is my cousin Derek," and everyone's like, "Yo, how many cousins you got, dog? Like, you got 4 cousins in the run club. You got this other cousin that comes from California. You got how the fuck y'all related?" They're like, "We're all cousins,
bro." That's how it was.
What is?
At school, it was like, bro, everybody was my cousin. It's so funny because it was. Looking back on it, it played a huge impact into, I don't know if you had to experience this, dating growing up was like, if somebody was black, if a girl was black, I had to run it by the family. Like, if it was in the community, if it was within the city, with a 30-mile radius of Little Rock, Conway, all these surrounding cities. I had
That's
to run it by the
crazy.
family to see, like, if it was a black girl, like, yo, are we related to them? Like, who her people? So like, you meet a girl, like, who your people?
You got to do it.
Bro, I like, I don't got time to be trying to vet people. Like, what if I find out she my cousin or something? I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to say like, oh, I was attracted to my cousin. That
Right,
that's crazy.
right.
So I was like, you know what? This is
what's the population of Mayflower?
Oh, 1,300.
13. Oh, okay, that's tiny. Yeah, that's tiny.
And I'm talking about a black community. Probably have like 280 in this community.
That's
all related.
Damn.
Yeah, dusty ass little kids, bro. It was in the country.
Dusty ass little kids. He said, you got definitely in the country.
Yeah, it was in the country though. But like, yeah, like, but in like the city, you know, like outside of that, like I have no idea how many cousins at that point.
Oh, at that point, it's like that's out of my.
Man, bro, I had to run it by. You had to run it by the family to see who was who her people. Where they from? Oh, they know where? Like, oh, and then they, you know, they can piece together like, oh, okay, no, you fine, you good, you get the green light, or like, I don't know, you might be close, and like, you know, uncles that was off doing stuff that, you know, on the side, who knows, and you got these different type of things. So that was just so funny. Did you ever have to run into that, like growing up? Was there like being that close to like, to your relatives and stuff? Did you ever have cousins that were like the same age? Like, oh, I don't know if we like how their family members or how close they were.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think I ran into that.
Yeah, you know, I'll say this. I'm the only. I always ask that question. I feel like I'm the only person I know that's gonna have to do these types of things.
Yeah.
Like run it by.
Yeah. No, never had to necessarily do that. And look, as small as Rhode Island is, right? Rhode Island is definitely tiny, but it's still pretty urban and pretty densely populated. I mean, Rhode Island is a population of about 1.1 million. Yeah, okay. And it was maybe 1 million in the 90s. It wasn't anything like too drastically. It's all in like the size of Austin, or a little bit bigger than Austin. And you know, 1 million people there. So you know, there was a lot of people. So there was never like, are we related, or like, do we need to run this by? Like, we knew, families knew each other, and because more of our extension and larger part of the families, they weren't really in Rhode Island. They'd either be in Florida or back in Columbia or something like that. Yeah. But I think obviously the whole Columbia thing played a different role, played another role, because I wasn't close to my cousins in Columbia. Right. Because I didn't really know them. To be honest with you, I'm not that close to them now either, because a lot of them are still in Columbia. But it sounds like we had a relatively positive experience with family. But I guess a question for you, because you were saying, I didn't know things were different until I really left. But did you see anything on TV, culture? I love asking the popular culture thing, because that molds a lot of what we think and who we are, especially growing up. Now, did you see things on TV or anything where you were like, that's different? I didn't know that it was like that. My experience is completely different. Do you recall anything like that?
I don't know if I recall like anything that's saying like my experience is different, but I did see things like, you would see like the Cosby's was a big show, and it didn't really hit as far as like my overall family, but the dynamics of it kind of played into like, all right, I grew up in this kind of fairly middle class, affluent household with two parents, but I also saw the difference of like a show like Fresh Prince, where I had a lot of cousins who were raised in another, like even one of my best friend, I'll say my best friend, like my best cousin, he grew up with me, and my parents took him in. He basically lived with us growing up, so I saw those type of experience, literally basically living like a Fresh Prince, almost like not like Fresh Prince, but like like Carlton basically, and he was like Will, and he was like Will.
I didn't want to say it, but you kind of like really Carlton, but you kind of dance like that, bro. I'm just saying, bro. Hey, let's
but anyway, so like that was
swag, just like Carlton. Swag, just like Carlton.
I saw those similarities in those in that like in those shows. So I mean, like that was one thing I could remember kind of growing up being like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. Like, but I feel like back then there was a lot of shows, a lot of stuff on TV that was really catered to black entertainment, I would say, and it was easy for me to like, because of how large my family was, to be like, oh, that reminds me of that person, or that part of my family, or that reminds me of this part of my family. So that's what I would say was the biggest thing, was just, I would say, as I grew up and just seeing different either entertainment or even seeing other people's families, like they would remind me of certain aspects of my family just because of like how many people I had in my family.
Would you say that the message that you took on, and let me not lead you with this question, but was there ever a message to you that like family was everything and anything? So it was pretty much family over everything. Was that the kind of message you delivered? Did you feel like your loyalty was, hey, I always got to get their back, right or wrong, or was it any different?
It was always preached to us growing up. Like, bro, I'm telling, like, it was ingrained into us
from the adults.
Like, man, if you went to the other
Like if you went out, like y'all got to be riding together, fighting together. Like y'all, we together. Like if we come out here right or wrong, we together. Then we'll figure it out when we get back home. So that was ingrained. Even to this day, that's still ingrained to me, oddly enough. But so it was always that. Like it was always family. So it was just like growing up, it just became like family over everything. So then even as I gotten older, when it comes to like, let's say my cousins can call me about anything, and it's like, yeah, like, all right, if I can do it, I'm here to help. And I think the biggest thing I would say growing up was like, as I grew up, was that understanding, like with my family, was that like we always show up for each other no matter what. Like if a cousin has a random graduation or anything, like you're gonna see like 4 or 5 family members that'll just go anywhere in the world to show up for us. So I think that was a big thing I would say, like growing up, just starting to see was like, dang, my family being different, that we always like kind of show up for each other.
Love that. Question for you, and you don't need to delve into if this for some reason is some sort of a touchy subject. I don't know if it is, but like this is why I'm going to ask it, because talking about family, having known you for years, and even in all these discussions we've been having throughout the podcast, you rarely talk about your brother.
Oh, okay.
And this is a sibling of yours, like your brother. You always talk about your cousins and everything close. And I know he's older than you, but like, what's the deal with that? How was that? How was that relationship with your brother?
So funny,
yeah,
bro. So he's 9 years older than me. We have the closest relationship ever, bro. I was just today.
Oh, okay,
like,
okay.
Like, it's so funny because to me, we're opposite. So I'm light skinned, he's dark skinned. He's a little bit shorter than me. He's way big. Like he's like a muscle dude. And I'm like just taller and
I've never seen a picture of your brother.
Man, if you see it, you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know
really?
It. But when we get together, bro, we feed off each other so much that like our family know when we get together. Like my mom's name is Deb. And they be like, Deb kids, like y'all, we gonna crack all the jokes.
Yeah.
We'll take it there. We'll say things a little bit, but like my brother, like, and he's kind of, I would say he was not as like he's not outgoing personality. He's a little bit reserved than I am. So like growing up, I thought he was cool, but I also knew that like he was in like my other cousins who were younger than him were out like getting girls and doing all this stuff. My brother's a little bit quieter, not so much like that. So then, but we always had that great relationship. But then once I was playing like sports and stuff, he loved sports. So basically, he just took me under his wing. And
that's what's up. Okay,
that's so funny though. Yeah.
I don't know much about your brother at all. Like I've never heard you really talk. And you got a brother. Yeah, it was surprising the response you gave me. Like, nah, that's my boy. Though, what you talking about?
That's the fun. Yeah, that's who I went to Columbia with all these times.
Oh, that's right. That's right,
my brother. So
that's right.
We had the coolest relationship ever. Like, and he's so much older. We never got into these. We never had physical fights or anything like that because we never had to compete for anything.
Sure.
So it always worked out that way.
Okay. Love that. All right. So let's fast forward to where we are now today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we've established kind of what our thoughts were on it, on the family stuff. Although, just to answer my own question, I'm gonna throw it back to me with regards to what I asked you on. Was family was the message that family was everything over anything? Was that the message? I can't say I really received that message, and I think part of it was because there was a bit of a fracture. Part of it is because I did see a lot of infighting from when I was younger. That. Me being
when you're saying younger, like what age is it? Because I recall like start like as a teenager, I would say.
Yeah,
see, like what the hell?
Yeah, I started really want to just like maybe like sisters and brothers fighting.
Yeah.
And to me, it seemed like a big deal because I wasn't I'm a very non-confrontational person. Yeah. I don't like to be like that. Shit makes me nervous and all that shit. Yeah. And imagine being a kid, like, and I was just like scared of it. So to me, I was like, and so it was never the message like family over everything. Even though I was with family a lot, even though I was with my cousins a lot, even though my mantra is like, I love my family. If they ever need anything, by all means, reach out. Yeah. But there's obviously a particular few of them that I really grew tight with, and like particularly like I said, my cousins Sasha and Andy, like they were my siblings. Like for all intents and purposes, their mom took me in when my sister was in Nebraska for her big surgery because my parents were both out there. Yep. So she literally took me in. Yep. Like single mom, and was like, you're staying with me, bringing me to school, the whole thing. So I have like a special place in my heart for them three all day, every day. I'll do anything for those three.
What's the age ranges? Like, are y'all kind of similar?
Yeah. So my cousin Sasha is 2 years younger than me. She just turned 38, probably a year and a half younger than me. My cousin Andy just is turning 34 in November. Okay. So like relatively close. Type of a thing. But again, I have really close, and I have now close, and nowadays I have close relationships with two of my other cousins. who are much older because they're my mom's cousins. Their dad is my grandmother's brother, and I didn't actually become cool with them till after high school.
Yeah, okay,
Like, because they just weren't really around. But now they're two of my closest. My cousin Eddie, who I think you've met, he's been here so many times, and his brother Jason, really cool. So it's just been really interesting. So I think my idea of family and like over everything has definitely strengthened more as I gotten older. I don't know if that message was really. And again, it wasn't one where then it wasn't like family isn't everything. It wasn't that, but I just don't remember it being like that hard of like, you know how they always say blood stick in the water type of a thing. I have my thoughts on that type of a thing. It's the same thing as saying love is unconditional. There's conditions.
There's definitely conditions.
There's definitely conditions. So, but yeah, so now moving forward, you said you went to Iowa and you started realizing things were different. I guess, what are your views now? Has anything changed? How do you interact with family now? Because you don't live next to them. I know you talk to them all the time, but like, what does that look like? You do go home a lot. I do know that.
Yeah, I do. I try to make it home as frequent as I can. One of the big things, and I'll ask you, think about this as well, is that what I realize now is the different roles have changed within the family.
Okay.
I remember growing up as a kid, you see the uncle, you see the aunties, and it was funny because you could see how the roles within the hierarchy within the family would play out, and there's a specific hierarchy how things go in specific aunties and uncles and things like that. And as I've gotten older, and unfortunately, family members have passed away, grandmothers passed away, uncles have passed away, starting to like become an uncle within our family, and then having like a younger generations beneath me, and starting to have to be like the uncle within our family.
Because you unk now.
I'm uncle now, bro.
You unk, bro.
I done officially transitioned. So now it's like when I go home, if the younger generation want to go out, I'm like, the old guy hanging in the back and just like footing bills and stuff like that. I think that old uncle in the back.
Herb coming through with a backwards cap. What up, youth? How are you doing, youth?
So I'm still trying to hold on to my youth now. So just to seeing the evolution of like going from being one of the kids and then now becoming like, one of the uncles, and then like having to, do stuff for the family and like take on different roles, like setting up or planning this or just contributing financially, like whatever it may be. Just seeing like taking on like a more an adult role within the family is kind of interesting to see. That's one of the biggest things. Did you see that kind of growing up, or have you seen that evolution?
Yeah, yes and no. I think the problem was is that as I got older, we all got more separated.
Okay.
To the people, we had more of my aunts and uncles and my cousins moved to Florida as I got into high school, as I got into college. But then with that said, like I said, I grew my cousins with getting relationships with people that were already in Rhode Island, my second cousins and stuff like that. And I actually got really, really close to them after college, during college and after college. And we were really a tight-knit group. I think because we're also separated, it's tough for me to see, was there anything really different that changed? For a while, though, and even up until now, though, with regards to like holidays, I think a lot of the people that were still in Rhode Island, my family, my cousins, still looked for like my parents like to celebrate and shit. Like everyone's still going to come over. Like what are Gloria and Pacho going to do? That type of thing.
Which now that your parents are gone.
And my parent is gone. Now, granted, most people have already left Rhode Island. Like there's no one. The only people there of my like is my cousin Sasha and her daughter. And I know she does listen sometimes, and she's like, "Yo, what am I gonna do? Your parents are gone. I don't really have anybody else here. We got my cousin Eddie and Jason there, but like everyone else is gone. No one's in Rhode Island anymore."
Fly south.
Yeah, we've been trying to get her to go. It's a conversation for this story. We're trying to get her to go to, but a lot of people are in Florida, and more importantly, most people went back to Columbia.
Bro.
So things have changed.
Things have changed. Hey.
Things have changed. But with that said, whenever we do have like large family reunions and people start taking responsibilities, I do see some of like the older cousins, I call them cousins, but they in their 40s, like taking bigger responsibilities and roles. So it is definitely interesting from that perspective. And it's more so getting older. It's like, how do you stay in contact? How do you stay close with family when you're no longer in the same area?
Oh, yeah.
And sure, we got social media, I understand that, but how do you keep the closeness? There's a difference between staying in contact and keeping the closeness.
This is something that my family is actively, I would say this generation is something that we're struggling with, is how are we going to keep the family? And I think it's one of the biggest fears of my aunts and uncles right now is that they don't know what the family will look like once they're all gone, and they're starting, unfortunately, to get into their older age. And, it's our generation over that's trying to like hold together the family and still do these family things. However, as you mentioned, it's a different age. Like growing up, I think it was necessary for us to stick together as a community and family because we needed each other. Like, my grandmother and aunts would watch us. And, there was no daycare. We didn't go to daycare. Like, aunts and uncles would watch, or older cousins would, would be your babysitters in the summertime and things like that. Which led to, in the 90s, I would say a lot of family members had success, and I feel now it's almost like we are we're cursed kind of by our own successes, in the sense that we don't have to rely on each other that much. We can be a lot more independent. Thus, it's hard to get us together, especially our group, to want to do something all together, just because we don't have to and we're not relying on each other. So that's one of the things our generation is struggling with, is trying to stay together and like continue to have that closeness.
I hear you. That's a tough. That is certainly a tough one. Question for you, because I feel like when we were younger, not that we didn't have any choice, we didn't know any better, and not that we were questioning it, but whatever the relationship with family was, or the definition of family was, or how often you saw family, or what you accepted about family, was just kind of like, this is what it is. You're a kid, you just roll with it, and you roll with it. Mm-hmm. But now that we're older, right? Now that we're here, now that we have our own views, now that we have our own experiences, family for a lot of people as adults can be a very tumultuous thing. And I have my own thoughts about that, or my own feelings about it. But I'm curious to know, what does that look like? Are there family members that maybe you don't talk to anymore, or maybe not even call it out like that, but like, how do you deal with differences now that you're able to have opinions and you're able to maybe put up boundaries? Do you put up boundaries? How do you deal with all that?
It's funny. I think it's nothing that I like. There's no family members that I have like a direct beef with, or like I have to cognizantly or like make this conscious decision to be like, I don't mess with that family member that anymore. However, growing up, there's certain personalities within your family members, cousins, that you learn, and it's like, all right, don't loan this cousin money. Don't let this cousin drive. They're gonna drive your vehicle. They're gonna tear that up. Like, it's just stuff you learn. So it's no beefs that I have to it's nothing that I have to like. I don't know, with this family, there's nothing that I have to like worry about. There, no
confront head on or anything.
No confrontations. How that's impacted me, I say, with like the family that I have now is so funny, is because, or say my chosen family versus the nuclear family, is that it's so diverse. Like my chosen family.
So elaborate on that. What do you mean by your chosen family?
Like my friends, like yourself.
Got you. Yeah.
My girlfriend, like the friends that that I would consider here in Austin, like. They are nothing like my family members, and it's so funny for me to think about like how different it is compared to like when I go home. It's almost a completely different world. Yeah. Do you have that same or have that experience for yourself?
Yes. I hear you. Yeah, no, that's a good point, and I do want to tap on that. So I'll get back to you from that perspective, but so no actual confrontations necessarily. But I guess before I answer that question, but have you found yourself seeing things differently, or seeing maybe certain family decisions or family things differently than when you did back then, though? When you're like, back then I remember this and it was like cool. Now I'm like, I don't know if I fuck with that, or now I do fuck with that heavy. Like,
it's several things I would say. Definitely, we spoke about it last couple episodes ago. Religion, definitely. I would definitely say my experience is definitely, or how I look at religion, is definitely different than my family's. Our viewpoints there, definitely, I would say that's probably the biggest thing, was just because of how big of an impact or how big religion was in my family. And then to get to where like, this ain't something I really do about that. Gotcha. But also understand why my family did it. And
but would they get mad? Would they get mad at you because of your views now? Like, would that cause a rift in any way?
No, it won't cause a rift, because at the end of the day, like, they know that. Going back to my brother now, we're gonna say what we want to say. Like, we're just gonna say the craziest joke that probably shouldn't. We're gonna bring up that most embarrassing time that we probably shouldn't. So, however we feel our viewpoint, we're gonna say it in a respectful way. Because I'm never gonna like be I would never be confrontational or disrespectful to any of my family members, specifically my aunts or uncles. Like,
well, that's not in your personality, anyways.
Yeah, that's true too.
You're not that guy.
But they came from like growing up like that, so we're like my aunts and uncles that they could ask me, say anything. They could tell me to do anything, even at this age. But and I know I don't have to do it, and they wouldn't ever do it in a way that be disrespectful. But I'm gonna do it, like, whatever. So, not that. I'll say religion is probably the biggest thing. And then I look back on it, like there was some, my grandfather had a whole family like 4 or 5 miles down the road that we would go and hang out, and I remember like as a kid and play with them. My mom then would go over there, and like they were kind of knew like that side of the family. And I remember my the lady that my grandfather married, she was nice until she died. She would send me birthday cards of $5. Grandma Esther, R.I.P. Grandma Esther, and it was just so odd looking back on it. And my grandmother would be like, "Hey, go down there and visit your Grandma Esther," and I was like, "Why would you tell?" And once I got older, I was like, "Why would she tell me to go?
Why not?"
I know, but it's just seeing those type of things like, oh yeah,
that's pretty cool though.
Yeah,
that's
and
pretty
then find
cool.
out about cousins later on, be like, oh yeah, that's your cousin. Like, wait, who, daddy? Wait, Unc got a kid where? And it's like, well, he my age, and I'm like, wait, okay. And then he ended up being my best cousin. He ended up living with me. It's like I didn't meet him till I was in the 6th, 7th grade.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you also had that story when you went to family reunion and you met homeboy up in Chicago, and he ended up living here.
Yeah.
Jordell, bro.
Bro, I can go to any family reunion right now. I'm going to meet somebody that I didn't know.
Yeah.
They're going to probably live somewhere like, oh, I'm in Houston. I'm in Dallas. Somewhere. What's up?
That was so funny, bro. We met a cousin of his. This is years ago.
Did not grow up with him.
He was living in Austin, and then he brought him around. He became part of the crew.
Man.
Dude hung out like hard for like 2 years. Hung out with us hard. Chill. When I tell you hard, like the dude would we would get hammered. And he would end up sleeping over because he would drive all the time. And Herb would sleep over, people would sleep over, whatever the case is. But like the next morning, like dude wouldn't leave. He would just be chilling on our couch sleeping, and we'd just be working around him, and we didn't care. He was cool as shit. Like
shout out to
shout out, like good dude.
He made him turn into a black Israelite.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So
man. We stopped talking. We haven't talked to him in a while. But he dropped by my crib a couple times by himself just to say what up before. He is a good dude. But I thought that was that was so funny that you were like, yeah, I just met him at a family reunion, and here we are. We're just kicking it with him.
There we go. And I go home right now, and that'd be the same exact thing. Do y'all still have family reunions?
Yeah, like I told you, we went last year to my grandmother's.
But that was okay. All right,
but it was
that y'all do vary.
We don't do annually. Yeah,
okay.
We do vary. So, it's been because the one before that we really did was for my grandfather's 80th, and that was 15 years ago. So not often, but we still try to do them. We should do them more often though. Okay. But again, it's just super hard.
Okay.
Because we would have to get everyone consolidated into one place, and that'd be difficult. But yeah, I think
like family dynamic. Did you see stuff change, or did it got older? You looked at.
I think I just started realizing how my family internal workings were, and then I started understanding better, like how things were, and I was like, oh damn, kind of a lot of drama. Just kind of a lot of drama. Look, every family's got drama. I'm not trying to talk badly about my family, and I'm not here to air out any of this shit. But it was just like, damn, y'all still fighting about what? Man, family. You know what I mean? Like, and it's difficult for me because I don't have a sibling around to be doing that, and like, like I said, I have some of my cousins I consider siblings, but like we ain't really bickering like that, and it just happens. There's different personalities. There's different ideas. Yeah. There's different approaches on how people like to confront situations.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I've just seen it all play out, and I'm like, man, I don't want any of that smoke. So I don't have any problems with any of my family members. Me personally, I'm cool with all of them, unless someone for some reason. But I don't think they do. I'm just more of I think some of the situations that have arisen have been more like, oh, this person doesn't hit me up, blah, 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 or this person doesn't hit me up. But it's not anything like super crazy. It's like, yeah, but do you hit up that person? Yeah. Well, no. It's like, well, what are we talking about then? It's just shit like that. It's the same thing as friends. People just be getting their feelings hurt and stuff like that. And I think it's just more so understanding growing up.
Yes.
As an adult, like things don't change that much than you were as a kid. I always had this notion as a kid, and we've talked about this before, that, I can't wait to be an adult because the drama is going to be done. People are going to be mature. Nah.
It only ratchet up.
Nah, people still be acting up and be immature and be in their feelings about stuff, including me sometimes. I'm not even trying to take myself away with that. At least I can see it and be like, oh shit, I was acting like a child, 2 years ago, whenever that was. Like, I'm not here to judge or criticize, but I just think it was funny because you just have this notion when you're younger, where like, oh, I can't wait to be older when people are gonna be more mature, and it's like, yo, it sometimes don't really change.
Yeah.
And in a friendship group, in a family situation, in a work situation, it don't really change.
Now, what I was gonna ask was because it's so funny, like growing up for me, like bro, my cousins, we fought all the time, like fisticuffs, like it was fights, like. But it also grew up where, like I said, my brother's 9 years older than me. Most of the family, the cousins specifically, all kind of segregated into like people that were in their age range from like a 3 to 4 year
swing.
range. So
Yeah.
So it's like my brother has a generation of cousins that are a little bit older than me. They're closer to their like 50s.
Yeah.
Where it's like 5 or 6 of them they grew up together. They're kind of real tight. And
He's Gen X. He's Gen X. Yeah.
And like my cousins that I grew up, it's like 10 of us, and we're all really close. And then the other blow, but we've kind of merged those all together as we gotten older, because just
nah, it don't matter after a certain point. After 30, you don't really matter.
Yeah. So, but now I just like growing up, like fighting cousins was all that, and like even like. So that wasn't unnatural to me. Now, so like anytime if I see them, like, or if we get into it nowadays, even as adults, like it's not that unheard of.
But when you say get into, are you guys squabbling up or what?
Oh, well, they will.
They will.
Yeah, they will. What? Man, their cousins be tripping sometimes. The boys.
Yeah.
The girls very. I've only seen one. Growing up, I only recall one time where the girls got into the fight, and it was my aunts. And it was back in the 90s or whatever. My aunts, I remember they got into a fight one time, 2 of my aunts, and that was like crazy. Like, it was like running around my grandma's house with pans and stuff. It was. I just remember being a kid, like,
damn,
that was crazy. Like the uncles, man, they would fight. Oh God, like, the brothers, they would. The youngest brother was the biggest one, strongest one, and talked the most, and was the loudest, and he was the black sheep of the family. R.I.P. Uncle Sway, he just passed away this year. And he would butt heads with the other aunts and uncles, and my mom was the only one that could calm him down. So he was very close to my mom. He would come over and he was very cool with me, but like, man, he was the black sheep, but he didn't do that religious stuff. So he would come up to my grandma's house, and they would fight, and him and my uncles would get to fighting, and they couldn't handle him.
He's beating their asses.
What? Uncle Spud was crazy, bro. The youngest and the loudest and the strong, like, he was crazy. So I just remember them fighting all the time growing up. But like once they got older, they kind of stopped with all that. But like, yeah, going back home, like, bro, all my cousins, now my extended cousins right now, they beef all the time. I go back home like, wait, who fought what? Y'all too old to be, like, y'all fighting? Like, y'all crazy. So yeah, definitely still see fights growing up.
That's super interesting, man. That's super interesting. I can't. Yes, I've definitely almost gotten into a couple of actual squabbles growing up, and that was certainly normal. And big ass fights and arguments with my cousins, and we'd be pissed at each other.
Yeah.
Like, I get that normal. It's definitely not like that now.
Right.
Everybody's different. Everybody probably from a cousin perspective, it's all up. Like I said, with the exception of small little stuff like where people's feelings might get hurt, it ain't nothing serious.
Yeah.
Like, it certainly ain't nothing serious. And now my aunts and uncles, sometimes they be pissed at each other for some just funny ass shit.
Yeah.
Their shit just be making me laugh sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like wait, from the past.
Yeah, from the past. You're like, wait, what type of shit? But again, in having this conversation with you, it's like the reality is that like it's family, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's just what happens. Like when you are that close to somebody or people or folks, you grew up with them and all that, like there's gonna be disagreements. Then maybe the situation's mishandled. I think the important part is that you just squash it and cover it up like you family. You know what I mean?
Now that you've gotten older, I know one of the things I see a lot of is that whenever I meet certain people, I can peg like, oh, you remind me of this person within my family. Do you do that?
Not instantly, but there's certainly been situations where if you overwhelmingly remind me of somebody, obviously it's like, oh, goddamn, you definitely remind me of my cousin or somebody like that. Yeah.
I think because I have such a large family, it's so easy, especially if I'm like around other minorities or especially other black people. I do this a lot, really. When I like dating like black girls, I'm like, oh, you remind me of this cousin, this person. It's like, man, it was the oddest thing. I'm like, you remind me of one of my aunties. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. You remind me of one of my cousins. Like, it was just so odd. Like, I always seem to do that. Even when I meet, now if I'm like meeting professionally, even in social settings or professional settings, if I'm networking with other women of color or other people of color, I'm pegging them to like other family members, and that's how I approach them, and that makes it really easy for me to be able to, like, I feel like, communicate and connect with them.
Oh, okay.
Just because I can fall back on like, oh, you remind me of this person. This is how I interact with them. This is how I interact with this person.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if it's because of your experience growing up, if that's just your personality and your character and how the inner, because it reminds me a little bit of like, how do we all learn? We had this conversation a little while, like, how do we all learn differently? Like, it's more of like, how do you relate to people? Maybe that's just your way, or maybe it is because of the way you grew up, and that's just what it is. But I'd be curious to know what it actually is, because that's not how I relate to people necessarily. I'm not sitting there, and I'm not saying it's like, I don't think it's a conscious thing. You're just, it just happens. You're just like, boom.
Yes, yeah.
You know
I'm not sitting there like the water boy over here, like, like, oh, you remind like all of a sudden like the picture.
Oh no,
like, you know, I'm like, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But it almost naturally just happens. I'm like, it'll just like ping like, this is who you remind me of after having like a further conversation. So that I find myself doing that a lot.
Very interesting. I wanted to pick something back up that you put down for me earlier, and it was a discussion around the chosen family versus the nuclear family. I want to delve into that a little bit more. We're going to put the definitions up here of nuclear family and chosen family, but just so y'all know, the nuclear family is the traditional husband, wife, heterosexual, kid, very kind of traditional type thing. It's what all the conservatives say that the liberals are trying to break apart. Okay, and the only reason they're saying that is because there's gay, lesbian, transgendered, asexual people, women who don't want to have kids and get married, all that shit. But then there's also the chosen family you mentioned. It's like your friends and stuff like that. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that more. When did you learn about that? When did you start coining that or terming that?
It's funny because I would say the biggest thing is not until I really moved to Austin did I start like considering people to be like, all right, now I got some real friends outside of my family. And I think I mentioned before just like how I relied on my family as a crutch when it came to like relationships or friendships. So it wasn't until I got to Austin that I could start like trusting people to like, all right, this person could come to my apartment or come to my house. Like for the longest, bro, if we weren't family, like outside of like teammates in college or family members, people didn't come to my apartment. Like
really,
I just even now my mom was like, she on some, who coming over there? Do you know these people? Like that type of stuff. So it's like growing up, like
I
didn't have that type of relationship with people. So like till I got to Austin and started like, man, my family a little bit, you know, they being a little too guarded. They a little too conservative. Like my mom's, you know, I understand she got my best intentions, but like it's okay to like let people in outside of the family, and my family, they are not letting people outside of the family in.
That's because everything you grew up was family. Okay, so I want to touch on that a little bit more. You said when you came to Austin, I'm leaning on, and I'm assuming it's because you've been in Austin so long. You've been in Austin 15 years.
Yep, since 09.
15 years.
Yep.
Do you think that's the reason why you just started seeing friends more and more and seeing people more and more?
Absolutely.
Or was it something different about Austin?
I mean, it wasn't
or like your evolution?
Yeah, it wasn't. I think it just naturally evolved. I don't think it was like a conscious, like, oh, I better start making friends or anything like that. I think it was more so that because, you know, got thrown into this environment where we were, I think we all had this common, you know, at the time we were all just like young professionals trying to make it. So I think that natural bond brought people together, and you would just start to, you know, people would just start, you know, gravitating towards each other, and that's how the friendships kind of just evolved through those. And it wasn't like I'm purposely like picking out these people, this person, like I need a friend like this. I think it just naturally kind of happened as it like going. It almost reminded me of like if I would have went to this large school and this is how I would have had to like pick my friends out of the group. And I think that's what happened when I got to like Austin and started working specifically at the our previous employer. Where I started like having all my friendships, because outside of that, I don't have any friendships that didn't come from that our previous employer.
Yeah, from the previous, really. Okay.
Yeah. So that's, and I've been.
You're not close to anyone from college anymore?
No. Well, not. I guess here and there a little bit. I guess I could think of a couple people, but for the most part, no, not really.
Wow, interesting.
Not really. No.
Okay, interesting.
Family in Austin, bro. That's it.
That's it. All right. Well,
you know.
Looks like you can't leave now. You're stuck here, bro. You're never gonna make friends again. You never make family.
Honestly, I feel like, bro, I can't make no new friends. I can't start all over.
Which is hilarious to me, because Herb is the most social person I've ever met.
You can't come to my house though.
That's fair, but like I was even watching Herb on Tuesday night when we was at the Lil Wayne concert, and like he's just so natural with the conversation, and I'm sitting here like, damn, my boy nice with it. Like, you can make friends anywhere, but but you ain't coming to my house though. Yo, which it's different. That is different though. You being able to talk to people and being comfortable enough to be like, I want you, like I'll invite you to my spot. That is two different things. So that's interesting. Which is also
for yourself.
For my perspective, what I've realized as I've gotten older, just me as an individual, is that I find it really hard to get comfortable around people now. And I don't know if I come off that way. I think similar to you, there's friends that I'm been friends with for a long, like for example, I've known you since I moved here. I've literally since like the day I moved here, so it's been almost 12 and a half years. Same thing with your girlfriend. Well, a little bit less because she came back in like 2015, but like I've known her for 10 years. And like so like for the most part, even if I don't see y'all that much, like I'm pretty comfortable around y'all.
Yes,
but like newer people and particularly relationships, it gets hard for me to get like comfortable. You know what I mean? And that's just something that's happened to me as I've gotten older. Like, who do I really trust to be my full self with?
Yes.
And I think that's been a really difficult thing for me.
Yep.
Hey, oh, ma'am. Somebody just got all up on the couch. Okay, that's the first time.
Oh, thank you.
Well, let's get down. Sorry for the cute difficulty here.
There you go.
So yeah, it's been a little bit difficult, but I hear you on the whole nuclear family. I don't fucking believe in all that nuclear family bullshit. Like that whole conservative bullshit. I do think that there is a level of blood family that is family, but I don't think that's what family needs to be, because there's some people that never grew up with family. There's some people that family wasn't good for them. They had to completely dip them. Family is essentially who you make them, who you feel comfortable with, who you feel supported by, type of a thing, you know?
I could feel that. Only thing I would say is like, man, I know, kind of mentioned earlier, like blood ain't thicker than water, but I do, and there's no unconditional love there. But I think because of I didn't choose these people, and I understand that we are only connected. Our connection is through, family, heritage, blood, or whatever we want to call that. That there is a level of not obligation, but there is a level of
loyalty
to them, unconditional. Even though I know that I could choose friends that maybe are, I don't want to say like for better or for worse, but I could choose friends that maybe tie in closer to what my beliefs are,
values,
my values, or even just geographically. However, speaking, I do think that because of this family, there is a level of benefits having that, as opposed to being able to just choose who you want to
100% agree. Yeah. Oh, no, I 100% agree with you. Sorry if I misspoke. I think the situation you're in, like, 100% makes sense. I think what I'm more so saying is that there are people that don't have that experience like you with family. And so they are forced to choose their family and go out and do that. I guess my point is that sometimes blood family isn't there or isn't there how you need it. And maybe that is not who you end up being the best definition of family for you.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes, but I think in our situations, we've been blessed and privileged enough to have close family that we love, and that I agree with you. Like, doesn't matter the disagreements I have. Like, I have an obligation, I feel like, and a loyalty to still be there for you regardless, because for the most part, it's been very positive.
Yeah, overwhelmingly. Now, I was going to ask on follow up on that, and we as we close out, like, in your dating experiences, is that something that you factor in or that you consider whenever you're looking at?
Like your closeness to family?
Yeah.
It is not. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
How do I word this? I don't necessarily believe that your relationship to family defines how you're going to be. Not how you are. You're gonna. It is gonna define. It is gonna mold you. But I don't think it defines whether you're a good person or a bad person, or whether you're gonna be a good partner or a bad partner. Necessarily, it could, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will.
Yes.
So I'm looking more for: are you a good person? Do you have good values? Even if family wasn't there, maybe it'll be a little harder to be that. So to me, it's not like, oh, I need to look for someone that has a strong bond and relationship with family. I think it's great if you do. I think it's fantastic. It certainly can mean a lot, but it's not a either or as absolute for me.
Man, it's so funny you say that, because for me personally, I just remember like growing up and dating, like it was something that I unconsciously would notice and consider. Like a lot of the girls that I've dated had like long standing relationships with. A lot of them came from like the same kind of family dynamics that I come from, which I don't know if that's something I would look for or if that's just something that just happens, in the world, the universe somehow. But like, it was always like I wanted to like date somebody that came from like a 2-parent household, just like me, because I wanted to raise my, kids, family, whatever, in the same type of dynamics that I had growing up. And I knew how like, I feel like that was like, I saw other family members who didn't have that same dynamic that I had, and being raised in a single parent home and or step, parents in the household. I saw how that was different than what my upbringing was. So that's what I always kind of would say gravitated towards. But it was I don't know if it was maybe consciously and unconsciously I would do that, but definitely something I would say impacted me.
And look, we're not any psychiatrists, psychologists to even be able to define why he's doing that. That could be the reason. I think one important thing that we did not touch on, and I want to touch on it briefly. I don't want to rush it because I know we're kind of up in time, but like I think it's super important. It's like, what do we want out of family in the future? Moving forward, you brought up like, you know, like what does that mean? Do we want to have kids? Do you want your family to be as close as your family was before? Does it matter? Is that even possible? I guess like what does that look like?
I think the biggest thing I've had to understand that the dynamics, the environment, the situation I grew up in, that's not gonna be that doesn't even exist anymore when I go back home. So it's impossible that I would expect my family to be raised in the same type of situation. That said, there's a lot of positive things I want to take from that and showcase them the importance, the love, all those types of things. So when I start a family, definitely want to involve, going back to Arkansas, seeing kind of where your roots are, and understanding like this is what family was like that, but I also understand like that's not probably going to be, it's not realistic that I even have the opportunity for my family, potential family to look like that. But also there's a lot of stuff that I want to take and kind of.
So what I'm hearing is you've accepted the reality of where you are right now and where life is right now.
That time.
But with that said, knowing that you want to be able to try to incorporate as much of family and those values and the experience you had as much as you possibly can and is realistic.
Yeah. Through anecdotes, but it ain't going to be through.
It ain't going to be, but you're okay with that. I got you. Yeah.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I can tell you one thing that I know for sure that I want is that I if I have family of my own moving forward, a wife and kids, is I definitely want to have more than one kid because I lost my sister at such a young age, and a lot of times I talk to my friends who all have siblings and like just seeing that closeness that they have that I was never able to have. I don't want my kids to have that. Yeah. And so I would love it. I would love to have more than one kid, but I think the reality is that at the age that I'm coming on, and
I understand.
Bro,
we ain't getting no younger.
Yeah, and we're not getting any younger, and the reality is like I ain't gonna be out here probably marrying a 25-year-old type of a thing. I could pull him,
probably,
but like gonna be so it's like, are we really gonna have two kids? Do I really got the energy for that? Like, and am I even? I don't know. So it's just one of those things where I would like for that. I've always been like, man, I want my sibling to have my kids to have siblings to be close to each other. But like, I've also accepted that might not happen, and that's okay too. But yeah, I would love for them to continue to be in close. I would love to send my kids to my parents for a summer and like just go know that you're Colombian. If you're full Colombian, great. If not, like whatever, you might be half Colombian, but like know your family and shit like that. So absolutely. I don't know. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I feel there's still hope out there now. We older, but we ain't too old.
I haven't lost it yet.
Hey, now.
Shit.
Shooting clubs up. You know it.
Yo, we hit this hour mark a little while ago. That went by so fast, but you know what? Let's jump into some of our
fun facts.
Our fun facts, things we want to learn, things we want to teach the folks here. Mm-hmm. We kind of go from there. I can't remember who went first last time. Was it me?
I don't recall, but I can just make it quick and easy.
Go ahead, brother.
All right. So my fun fact, you've heard me reference this several times, was the movie Soul Food. It came out in the 90s, 1997 specifically. It was a film written by and directed by George Tillman Jr., and it was based on the story of his own experiences growing up in Milwaukee, where his grandmother, who would host large Sunday dinners that kept their family connected. Same thing that, like I said, just Big Mama's house. We would call Big Granny. It was my grandma named BG, Big Granny. That's what we called it growing up. And it was just really for me, it was just like so. I just remember that movie coming out and our family being like literally like this.
This is you.
This is exactly
this is your family.
Yeah, so love, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. If you have seen it, turn it back.
Soul Food?
Soul Food.
I feel like I've
Neil
seen
Long.
I have. I don't know if I've seen it. I just think it's because I'm such a familiar name and such a familiar movie, but I can't remember I've seen it. I can't remember, but I'm gonna have to see it then. We have to put it on the list. We have to put it on the list.
Black Jersey one, we can watch.
There we go. We're gonna do that. Cool. I love that. Not necessarily a family fact, but I probably could turn to family facts. You know me, I'm all about my science shit and everything like that. I think last episode I kept it to what the topic was about, but one of the biggest facts that blows my mind so much is when we start talking about what are the chances of us being born.
Okay.
Of you being born, Herb, of me. of
Yes,
me
this
being
DNA
born.
of all of the
Yes.
specific combinations. Yes, go.
1 in 400 trillion. 400 trillion. Those are the
Okay.
chances.
All right. So give me how many zeros are we looking at here?
Oh God, I don't even know.
400
400 trillion. So we're gonna do 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. That's 4 million. 1, 2, 3. That's
Billion.
4 billion. 1,
And-
2, 3. That's 4 trillion.
And 2.
2. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 3, 6, 9, 12. 14 zeros. 400 trillion. Those are the chances.
Okay.
There's been 100 billion humans that have walked this earth since the beginning of humankind. 100 billion. And that's nothing. Nothing compared to the amount of configurations that could be put in place for the amount of humans that could possibly ever be born is one. And we're one of that 400 trillion.
And kind of explain when you say like the possibilities and
The amount of possibilities of not only the two people that meet, that get together and form their DNA, but also the configuration in which the chromosomes of the DNA and the genes that go in place to make you, because you were born and your brother was born, but there could be a bunch of other different siblings that can be born to, all from the same parents. None of them are going to be you.
Yes.
None of them are going to be your brother.
Yeah.
All going to be individual, different. DNAs are going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Fingerprints are going to be different. The whole 9 yards. And I think it's more so it's just an appreciation of yo, we are here against all odds.
In the small amount of time, in the grand scheme, I'm talking about a whisper of a
Barely.
yeah, if that blink.
Like we are born here against all fucking odds.
Yes.
All fucking, and it's just, to me, it's just absolutely incredible. And like that number is so mind-boggling. Just so you guys know, rough estimates of the probability of you winning the lottery is 1 in 800 million. That's a crazy probability.
Yes.
We're talking about the probability of you having been born and being born is 1 in 400 trillion.
14 0.
And we're all here today. And we're all of us. You're watching, you're listening. We are all here today against those odds.
And we want all 400 trillion of y'all listening.
You were saying the 14 zeros. That's how you're getting confused.
Yeah. We want all listening.
We want all listening, even though most of them are on board. But
right. Born and unborn and soon to be born.
Hey, I appreciate it. That was another successful episode. Good chats. Learn some stuff. Hey, like, subscribe. We're going to be out here doing big things soon. Herb, appreciate it. Peace.